Alright, let's move on to the Paladin with the Oath of the Watchers. Very interesting oath here. Essentially, the gist of the Oath of the Watchers is protecting the material plane from extraplanar threats. So it's like the Horizon Walker of the Paladins. Start off with the bonus spells that you can get, or that you do get, rather. Alarm, decent ritual spell, keep you safe at night. Chromatic Orb, it's an okay spell. You're probably not going to have the highest spell attack as a paladin, but being able to switch the damage types is useful in some circumstances. Augury, very useful. Moonbeam, not the most useful, but you can move it around as a bonus action, make them make the save, so it's all right from an action economy standpoint. Counterspell, best spell in the game. Don't really need to say any more there. Non-detection, situationally useful, certainly. Aura of Purity, not great, but not terrible. I just can't imagine a scenario where I'd actually use this. Banishment, very, very good spell. Hold Monster, very, very good spell. Hold Person, but for everything. And Hollow, situationally useful spell. So all in all, the bonus Oath of the Watcher spells that you get are pretty good. I would say we have a pretty good array of extra spells here. Not all of them are the best, but none of them are terrible either. And some of them are very, very good. Mainly Counterspell, Banishment, Hold Monster. Those three right there are super good. The Channel Divinity options, you have two of them, same as all Paladins. First, we have Watcher's Will. You can use your Channel Divinity to invest your presence with the warding power of your faith. As an action, you can choose a number of creatures you can see within 30 feet of you, up to a number equal to your Charisma modifier. For 1 minute, all the chosen creatures have advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws. So obviously this is a very, very good ability. Some of the most devastating spells are going to be those that make you make Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma saving throws. Things like Hold Person, Feeble Mind, Banishment. These spells that could, be disastrous for you or your party, giving everyone advantage on those saves. Potentially everyone. At least some of your party having advantage on those saves can be very, very useful. It is an action, which kind of hurts because, at the beginning of combat, you don't really want to spend your action doing this, but it will definitely save you in the long run in a lot of scenarios. So I think that Watcher's Will is very good. And for our other Channel Divinity option, we have Abjure the Extraplanar. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and each elemental, fey, fiend, or aberration within 30 feet of you that can hear you must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage, and this just explains what turn does. So that's pretty standard for a Channel Divinity, right? Most paladins have some option like this, so it's not the greatest option, but situationally it can be very, very useful. If you are fighting, say, a whole host of elementals or fey or fiends or aberrations, then getting rid of some of them with this feature, at least for a while, could be very, very good. Next we have Aura of the Sentinel at 7th level. You emit an aura of alertness while you aren't incapacitated. When you and any creature of your choice within 10 feet of you rolls initiative, you each gain a bonus to initiative equal to your Charisma modifier. And at 18th level, the range of the aura increases to 30 feet. So this is pretty good. Always getting an extra little bonus to your initiative for you and potentially for your friends. It's not exactly the most flashy, but having a higher initiative can be oftentimes pretty useful. Next we have Vigilant Rebuke at 15th level. You've learned how to magically chastise anyone who dares cast unwanted spells at you and your wards. Whenever you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw against a spell, you can use your reaction to deal 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier force damage to the spellcaster. This is a pretty good feature. It synergizes very well with Watcher's Will, and you are essentially dealing almost free damage as a reaction, and it's pretty good damage too, right? 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier force damage as a reaction to a spellcaster that could potentially be, pretty far away, right? The creature that succeeds the saving throw needs to be within 30 feet of you, not the spellcaster though. The spellcaster can be anywhere. So if the spellcaster chucks a fireball at your rogue, because they're horribly misinformed, and the rogue succeeds, because of course they do, and the rogue is within 30 feet of you, you can just, as a reaction, hey, spellcaster, take 2d8 plus my charisma modifier force damage, because you're horribly misinformed about the abilities of a rogue. And, this doesn't seem like the biggest deal, but compared to other 15th level Paladin features, this is actually pretty good. It is up there on the power level for 15th level abilities. It is situational, certainly. If you're not fighting an enemy spellcaster, you're not going to use this at all. But when you are in combat against enemy spellcasters, you are going to be glad you have this. Which, as you get higher and higher levels, it is going to be more often than not. And finally, the 20th level feature, Mortal Bulwark. As a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Bonus action, that's interesting. You gain True Sight in a 120-foot radius. Situationally useful, sure. You have advantage on attack rolls against elementals, fae, fiends, and aberrations. Again, situationally useful. When you hit a creature with an attack and deal damage to it, you can also force it to make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is magically banished to its native plane of existence if it's currently not there. On a successful save, the creature can't be banished by this feature for 24 hours. Again, situationally useful. Once you use this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can see the problem with this ability. It is extremely situationally useful. Gain True Sight in a 120-foot radius, useful if you're fighting a shape changer or someone who uses illusions or invisibility, things like that. You have advantage on attack rolls against elementals, fae, fiends, and aberrations, useful if you're fighting one of those things. If you're playing Out of the Abyss or the newest adventure, the one with Zariel, or Temple of Elemental Evil, something like that, this would be, useful. And this last feature here, again, situationally useful. I suppose it would be useful if you are fighting like like some big fiend that has minions helping it, and you can just banish those minions. You could potentially banish those minions, I should say. I like that it's a bonus action. That's nice and lasts for 1 minute. Great. But overall, I mean, if you're fighting like a dragon, this ability is completely worthless. And your 20th level ability should not be worthless in any scenario, right? This is 20th level we're talking about. If I'm fighting the big bad of the campaign, which is like an ancient red dragon or something, and there's no point in me using my 20th level ability, that's just terrible design, I think. If I hit 20th level Paladin, I should be hyped to use this ability. But if I'm fighting something that isn't an elemental, fae, fiend, or aberration, and is native to this plane, and I don't really need True Sight, then what's the point? Every single other 20th level Paladin feature has some clause of it that is useful in every scenario. Alright, Oath of Devotion gets that extra radiant damage in the light. Oath of the Ancients, everything is useful. Oath of Vengeance, you gain the fly speed and the frighten aura. Oath of Conquest, everything is useful. Oath of Redemption, pretty much everything is useful. Has like that one weird clause about dealing damage, but we're not going to worry about that because that's like a more support Paladin. Every other Paladin has at least one bullet point in its 20th level ability that you will always want to use, no matter what you're fighting. And this just doesn't have that. You could say, why would you choose this Paladin archetype, the Oath of the Watchers, if you aren't planning on fighting, something not from this plane, or elementals, fae, fiends, or aberrations. To which, sure, that's fair, I suppose, but again, every other Paladin archetype, no matter what they are, no matter what they're supposed to be fighting or supposed to be doing, some bullet point in their 20th level ability, if not all of them, is going to be extremely useful, right? So Oath of Devotion, their 20th level ability, if you're not fighting something that can be affected by daylight, or it's not like an undead or a fiend, that sucks. You could say, why would you choose Oath of Devotion? Well, because I still get this other bonus where no matter what it is, no matter what the creature type is, while they're in this light, they take radiant damage, right? So even if the big bad of the campaign isn't an undead or a fiend or a drow or something, it's still useful. This doesn't have that, and it makes me, pretty disappointed, because otherwise I think this would be a really cool Paladin archetype. So all in all, my thoughts on the Oath of the Watchers, it is a little weak. The bonus spells it gets are great. Channel Divinity options, Aperture of the Extra Plane is pretty standard. Watcher's Will's decently good. Aura of the Sentinel's fine. Vigilant Rebuke is fine. Mortal Bulwark is, again, worthless. If they gave Aura of the Sentinel a little, like one little extra something, you gain a bonus to initiative equal to your charisma modifier, and then, if you go before an enemy, something happens, I don't know, you get a bonus to something Something like that. It would be good. Mortal Bulwark needs to be changed. One of these clauses needs to be changed to be useful in every scenario. Even if that means changing it from a bonus action to an action, whatever, just make me want to use this ability no matter what I'm fighting. But let me know what you think about the Oath of the Watchers Paladin. Is it too strong? Is it too weak? Did I overlook something? And next we will be going over the Noble Genie patron for the Warlock.